I'm sure there has to be a better way to do this, but I don't know it. So we'll improvise. This here where I've written Sally is where the car was actually parked. You can see the junction with the entrance to the road there. So from that up there is where I was in the car until the point where I realised I'd forgotten to stop the recording. Over here is the actual viewpoint. The direct track from the car park runs up here, and I've cut a little bit of it off as I took the snip, but what I did was walked around the back of the viewpoint because I knew I wanted to go in this direction. This is the point at which we came down to the signpost, I think. Or is that just that the GPS got confused? I suspect that loop may be a GPS confusion, because I think that where the cursor is now is where we double back left at the signpost, and somewhere around here, I would say, is where the sign, the Colliery Screens sign is. All the rest of this was just a wander through the woods, but it was quite fun. Good evening, Owl. Welcome to New Fancy. Sunset wasn't much, but I got some time on me hands, and a camera and a torch and who knows what. So let's go for a wander. We'll keep quiet for a minute and see if the mic on this thing picks up the owls. My thinking here is to retrace a route I wandered in the half dark a few weeks back when I didn't have the head camera, just to see what it records with a bit more light on than I used up at the waterfalls recently. New Fancy Colliery Screens, that's the one. Okay, so we've now got all of the lights on, which according to the information when I bought them should be good for something like 3 hours of use. And I've got my power bank in the camera bag as well in case. I'm using all 5 of the lights on the head torch, hoping that the camera will be able to see a bit more than it could the other day. Could have scrambled down there, but it looked a bit steep. I'll try and remember not to whistle as well. Duck. This track looks a tad muddy in patches, but basically wonder, no it wouldn't, I was wondering if that slope beyond that tree there would have been a shortcut way back to the car park, but I don't think it would. Well, in daylight, or if I knew what one were doing, it might be, but it's not daylight and I don't know where I'm going, so it ain't. I'm going to have to do a tremendous amount of ducking, I suspect. If they were apple trees, we could pick the low-hanging fruit. Let's just pause a second and check on the route tracker. Yep, it's doing what it's supposed to do. That's handy. Nothing wildly exciting there, but at least that'll keep the route tracker active for half an hour. So on we'll wander. Memory says it shouldn't take half an hour to get up to the place where I came before. I'm hoping to get a better look at what's there. And yes, I know I could come out in daylight, but I didn't. It's actually a lot less far than I'd remembered, because there is the saying new fancy colliery screens. Altitude 155 metres, which I seem to remember calculating the last time I walked down here, and I can't be bothered to rework the calculation. So what are we looking at? That looks like a building of some sort right in front of us. In fact, there's a whole wall going along here. Nothing over that side, but yeah, there's definitely a large piece of wall that side, to the left as I'm walking, and I can't imagine anyone would have built it just for the sake of it, so one has to assume it's the new fancy colliery, as was. So it has to be remembered that a lot of the lovely spots we now have in the Forest of Dean are former mining areas. I'm given to understand that Wargreen's Nature Reserve was a open cast mine. Right, now you can clearly see that is a building of some sort. Yep. But I don't know how to get round the other side or up top. And as per the wandering around the waterfalls, I'm not attempting that scramble when there's no one around to rescue me. There were a group, 3 carloads, who were with it, 3 carloads who were just loading up to leave as I got here, because the theory says that the site closes at 7:30, but in practice it's only the car park that closes at whatever time after 7:30 the guy comes around and locks it. It's alright, I'm parked outside it, we won't be stuck. Feeling that piece of brickwork may have been all of it, but we'll keep wandering for now. Fairly certain that if I keep heading along this way, it's possible to get out onto the main road half a mile or so up from the entrance to the car park. Which might be interesting to do at some point. Now, that's wet and muddy. That up there doesn't look too bad, and I think if we cross over these roots here, that'll give us a fairly solid passage. And we can step over this fallen tree, and it's on ahead. Don't you love the way that tree has toppled? But it looks as if it's still shooting. Looks as if one of the other trees has put out a branch to hold it up. Well, this is a bit twisty and devious, but then forest tracks tend to be that way. At least we have the route tracking app going if all else fails for getting back again. Now that looks like two loops around the same, different sides of the same piece of grass, so we'll go this way. And the owls are now behind us. I'd have needed to go the other way to get any closer, and that wouldn't have brought us to here. Slight dip downwards here. Gateway between the trees. It's not an actual gateway, but you know what I mean. Don't be pedantic. Actually, according to the route tracker, we're getting further from the road, but that goes directly contrary to what I was told by a local with more knowledge of the area than I have. That was mud. This is even more mud, and a stream crossing and a little white flag. Can't think why there'd be a little white flag here, but yeah, that looks perhaps muddier than I want to attempt right now, so I guess it's time to go back the way we came. Yep, because that was a bit soggy there. Can hear the traffic on the road. I certainly was told that you can park somewhere along there, walking through the woods, and come to the Colliery screens. So yeah, that might need further investigation by daylight. This all looks familiar. Yeah, I do think that stepping over this was better than trying to go round the route. Keep wondering if there's another route going off to the right now that would lead out to the road, but there's a fence in the way which tends to suggest that that isn't the route, although it is fairly well down at this point, as if suggesting that people may go through there. But there's no obvious and clear track. Yes, there is actually. I think going between those two trees there, it looks as if there is a reasonably well trodden route. I'm not going to wander up there and find out now, because technically we shouldn't be climbing over the fence. Yes, and this path is actually running along beside the fence here, but then the fence comes to some kind of an untidy end here. There's no sign of any posts or anywhere else where the wires may have been attached. Another one of those mystery fences that appears to have no purpose and ends at a random point. Oh well, whatever. I suppose looking at it along there, if one pushed through a few bits of overgrowth, that might be the route that leads out to the road. Who was it that told me about that? I can't think who it was, so I can't ask the relevant individual for clarification. Perhaps when I put this video up to YouTube and link it through to Facebook, the individual concerned will pop up and answer the question I may well ask. There we are, back to the Colliery screens. Sizable piece of building with, that looks like some kind of structural timber sticking out of the wall there, right in the middle of the light. Definitely it's even higher here. The brickwork is, the stonework is high, even higher. The way that tree is growing out of the middle of it. Well done, Mother Nature. Last time I wandered down here, I did take a flash picture of the sign. I suppose one could do it again, but probably you won't need the flash. Is that clear? Yeah, that'll do. Done without the flash. Let's just check up on... Oh, what have you done, you silly thing? I see, so it says we're there. Yeah, okay, it knows where we are. And yes, we are following the route we walked out along. So, it's all good. Now if I do that, it'll spoil the light for the camera. This is obviously a fairly well used route, because it's as one walks along here, there's no point where it's not clear where the track goes. But this is not a part of the cycle trail. If we turn the other way at that sign, that's a cycle trail that can lead to such places as, I think, Mallard's Pike, possibly Wenchford, or going the other way it might go up towards the Spruce Rides and the Beach House. I don't know about that because I haven't been that far. That there looks like the slope coming down from the viewpoint, so we're getting back towards the sign at which we have to do a very sharp right turn. I am reminded of many years ago, something like 42 years ago, I was working in the motorway services at Exeter as a feeling when I worked out what I wanted to do instead of teaching. My day off was payday. Another lad and I had both gone out there on the bus to pick up our wages, and there wasn't a bus back for a few hours, so we set off to walk. He was one of Exeter's, not the real hard nuts, but the second tier hard nuts. We set off up this unlit road, and I turned off up a route that I knew would get us quickly back to town. This Exeter's second tier hard nut was quite scared in the dark. I actually had to keep my torch on for him. And now, not because I need the light for confidence, but simply for safety, to see where the hell I'm walking. Yep. That slope was just about climbable. It's cut a minute maybe off the distance, I don't know. Hey up, is that mist? Is that mist out there in the distance? It looks a bit like it. The question then becomes, is it enough mist to be worth heading for Simon Jap for the mist over the river? I guess only time will tell. Okay, so we're back into the new fancy car park, which is quite extensive, as you can see. I would like a little bit longer range now, so I've refocused the centre light of the set to a longer, narrower beam rather than the shorter, wider one. The other four have no adjustment, they just are what they are. A bit like me, really. I expect that by now the barrier will be locked. But don't panic, Mr. Mannering, because Sally Skoda is parked outside the barrier. In fact, you can just pick out her number plate and rear reflectors. But I don't think the barrier is locked yet. No, it isn't, it's still open. Oh well. Whatever. I still think it's wiser to park outside it, because the dude might have got here and locked it before I got back. They do actually lock these barriers, so if any of you are ever wandering around in the Forest of Dean like this, do be aware they do lock the barriers. And there she is. My faithful steedess awaits me. So yes, she's actually going to get to be in a video. Now, to zoom that out again. Whoops! So I haven't been drinking, honest. I don't know how well this will work, but we'll try it anyway. Might need to flip her to give the autofocus something more to pick up on. That'll work. Okay, where's the flipper for the head cam?